Hey, Jessica here, and it is that time of year again. Breeders' Cup starts tomorrow. And yesterday I posted some selections on my blog, bettertalknow.wordpress.com, for those of you that aren't aware of that. I posted some selections, but I put them in betting format. I had a $2 win bet, $2 across the board on a horse, and then a $1 exacta box. And that's just kind of how I've always put my selections out there, because I think it shows from a value standpoint what I really think of the race, but it doesn't necessarily show from a who's the most likely to win standpoint what I think of the race. So therefore I'm going to kind of talk about a couple of the races today that I think I need to go into a little more detail on. Okay, the Breeders' Cup Ladies Classic this year is completely loaded. It is the deepest field of any of the Breeders' Cup races. I'm the more excited for it than either day, any race. There's only 8 horses, but all of them are really talented fillies. First, we have Royal Delta, who's installed as the 9-5 morning line favorite. She won this race last year and is coming back to defend her championship title. Now, she's 9-5 on the morning line. She was actually cross-entered originally in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and I think she would have been one of the betting favorites there, too. That said, she's not going to have an easy time of it in this race. You have 2 reigning 2-year-old champion fillies who are both undefeated. You have Awesome Feather from 2 years ago and My Miss Aurelia from last year. And both of them are really talented. You can't go wrong with either of them either. Besides them, you also have other 3-year-old fillies, Questing and Grace Hall. Questing's Alabama win, I was there in person for it, and it was honestly the most impressive race. It was incredible. I remember watching the race and thinking that there was no way she could win. She went 46 to the half and on the lead, and she just opened up, and it was incredible. Now, she might have to go that fast in this race because you have Love and Pride, who actually beat Royal Delta and It's Tricky, the recently retired It's Tricky, in the Personal Ensign Stakes at Saratoga, before coming out to Southern California, where the Breeders' Cup is, and winning the Zenyatta Stakes over Southern California's then reigning top older female, Include Me Out. So, all of these horses are coming together. Who's going to win? Personally, Royal Delta looks really tough. She's tactical. She's not going to be completely out the back of the pack, but she's also not going to be dueling for the lead with Love and Pride and Questing. That said, I can find a couple of chinks in the armor. 2 starts back, she was beaten by Love and Pride. That in and of itself is not a bad thing, but she really didn't look all that great that day. And the race before that, in the Delaware Handicap, she was all out to beat Tis Miss Sue by a neck. That wasn't very impressive at all. Maybe she just didn't like the track. Maybe something happened and she just wasn't at her best that day. Because she ended up coming back on September 29th at Belmont Park after those 2 efforts. She came back and she won the Beldame in style. She won by 9.5 lengths, under wraps, easy. It was really impressive. So, is she back to where she needs to be? Probably. If she's not, she is beatable because there are other incredibly talented fillies in this race. As I mentioned before, you have Awesome Feather, who 2 years ago won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies and was the champion 2-year-old filly of the year. Since then, she's been lightly raced. She's only had 4 starts in the past 2 years. But they've all been wins. She's now 10 for 10 lifetime, and came back on September 20th at Belmont in a little overnight stakes, the Nasty Storm, and she won by 11 lengths and looked great. She was very visually impressive in that race. I really liked what I saw from her. However, she's never been tested. She has never faced a horse half the quality of any of these. She beat Love and Pride in the Gazelle last year, but Love and Pride has improved since. That year, she also beat Our Heat Lightning, who was a very nice 3-year-old filly at the time. Actually, no, sorry, that was in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies that she beat Our Heat Lightning, who ended up then becoming a very nice 3-year-old filly. But really, Awesome Feather has not ever been tested. She's never had to really lay down and fight, which is a huge thing for me. And that's why, of the 2 undefeated fillies, I prefer my Miss Aurelia, because last time out in the cotillion at Parks, her and Questing put on a really great, just a great horse race. There were only 4 horses in the field, okay. But the 2 of them really showed what champion horses should be doing. They dueled to the wire, and if you'll notice, Corey Nakatani never hit my Miss Aurelia with the whip. Though, in Questing's defense, she did not actually lose the lead until Irad Ortiz hit her with the whip, and Questing has proven in the past that she does not like the whip. In the Coaching Club American Oaks and the Alabama, both times she was ducking about in the lane when Irad started going to the whip on her, so I don't know that it caused her to lose to my Miss Aurelia in the cotillion. I don't know that it caused her to lose that race, but it's an interesting thought to entertain that in the other races, she'd been well clear, and when he hit her with the whip, she started veering sideways. Well, she was right with my Miss Aurelia, and since she had nowhere to go sideways, maybe when he hit her, she faltered just enough to give a really classy filly like my Miss Aurelia the edge. I don't know. But I would take my Miss Aurelia over Awesome Feather and Questing. However, if you notice on my blog, I did put Awesome Feather as my $2 win bet. That's because of the visual, just the visual. It's strictly what I have seen from this filly, just watching her races and watching the way she wins them. I know, as I've said, there's nothing behind her really in these races, but I really think she's a very classy filly, and I think she'll prove that she can at least hang with these horses. Honestly, Royal Delta has the best chance to win, but at 9-5, I can't bet her to win, so I'm going to go with Awesome Feather. That's why I did use, however, in my Exacta box, if you look on my blog, I did Awesome Feather, my Miss Aurelia, and Royal Delta in Exacta box. That's really risky because I think Questing has a huge chance to win or run second in here. But I only wanted 3 horses, and those to me are the 3 top horses in the race. On my blog, I also bet my Miss Aurelia across the board. I think that of all of the horses, I think she's the best aside from Royal Delta. I think she's one of the more consistent. Obviously, she's never lost a race, and she's tested. That is honestly just a huge deal to me, is that my Miss Aurelia has proven that she has the will to win if a horse comes up and looks her in the eye. Awesome Feather has yet to prove that. I think she will, but you can't, that's a huge unknown, and she is going to get a real test of class here today. So that's that race. Saturday's feature is the $5 million Breeders' Cup Classic, and Game On Dude is the 9-5 morning line favorite. I'm having a hard time beating him. He is the speed of the race. He loves the track. He likes the distance. I just don't see him losing this race. I really don't. If someone were to beat him, though, because 9-5, I don't really want to play a horse at 9-5, you'll notice on my blog that I played Mucho Macho Man to win. I've liked this horse for a long time, and I think he's really starting to come into his own this year. He's had some great races. He ran 3rd in the Kentucky Derby at 1.25 miles, and that was his only start at the distance. I think that's a good indication that he can handle it. So far this year, he has won the Sunshine Millions Classic, he won the Gulfstream Park Handicap, and he won the Suburban. Now, last time out, he finished 2nd in the Woodward to Honor and Serve. I know that Mike Smith wasn't very happy with what happened in that race and the way the race played out, so I'm going to excuse him. In addition to that, I can't play To Honor and Serve over Mucho Macho Man. I just have never really seen the hype that this horse has received be justified. I think he gets overbet a lot, and I just don't see him as good of a horse as people seem to think he is. I can't bet him. The other horse I included in my Exacta box besides Game On Dude and Mucho Macho Man was Flat Out, who won the Jockey Club Gold Cup last time. He very narrowly beat Stay Thirsty who was not in good form. I really didn't like the race that much, but besides that, he's going to be sitting closer than stablemate Ron the Greek, and that's really my only reason for liking him more than Ron the Greek. That and the performance that the latter put in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. I'm not really sure what happened there. Well, Flat Out has been consistent throughout. He's going to run well at the distance. He's 2 for 3 at the distance. He should be, as I said, sitting in a decent position. Game On Dude will get the lead, but I could see Fort Larned and Handsome Mike both giving him a little bit of pressure up front. Just enough to perhaps set it up for a closer if Game On Dude isn't on his A game. Also, if you're looking for a really big upset, check out Nanios, the 8 horse. He ran second to Game On Dude in the Awesome Again Stakes, formerly the Goodwood, last time out. And all reports are that he is working magnificently over at Hollywood Park. Now, maybe that's just the surface over there. It is cushion track and not dirt. However, he seems to be getting better, and if you throw out his Traverse, which is the one big question mark for him, if you throw out his Traverse performance, which was at 1.25 miles, which is the distance of the Breeders' Cup Classic. If he can handle 1.25 miles, which is a big if you throw out that race, he's never been worse than third. He's been really consistent, and he's improving. I don't really think he can win, but he might hit the board, and that's why I played him in my bets across the board. I think that he could reasonably run third at 20-1 and kind of make things a little sweeter underneath when I feel like Game On Dude is going to win.